Anointed Warriors. What's up, spiritual family? And welcome back to Mount Fitness MBS Ministry, where I am your host, Brother Minister Mongoose, and where he has raised up a ministry specifically for those of you that are hurting, those of you, that have made mistakes, that have been betrayed by others. You've done your fair share. Some of you guys, including myself, have done more than our fair share of wrongdoings. But yet here we stand. In spite of the poverty, in spite of the mistakes, the different people that walked out of our lives when we needed the most, despite what some of you guys may have gotten from the doctor report, despite your financial circumstances, here you are. Let that stand as a testament to the fact that he is with you. He never came for the people that had it all together. If you've heard me say it once, you've heard me say it 1,000,000 times. Mary was a prostitute. Moses was a murderer. Samson was a womanizer. The list goes on, guys. He came for you. He's always been with you, and he'll always be with you. And this ministry has been established for you. It's also for those who may not have gone through as much as some of us. Maybe from a general standpoint, they haven't gone through a lot of very many hardships at all. We'll call it that. But yet they see that mankind has become unhinged. A lot of hatred, a lot of fakery, a lot of betrayal, a lot of narcissistic patterns, tendencies, even laws that are being made. And so people see that, and even though they haven't encountered some of these severe hardships, they realize that the path that mankind is currently treading is not for you. If you're amongst any of those groups, or if you're just amongst the group of people who say, hey, there has to be a better way. Politics, the different religions, the war on crime, the racism, the war on poverty, all of these different systems have long since failed us as collective society, or as members of collective society. These things have failed us. If they were on the Dow Jones Stock Exchange, then they would have their profits and their shareholders, and it would have plummeted a long, long time ago. So this ministry is for you as well. If you realize, there has to be a better way, you're willing to try something that's new, something that's sound, something that's practical, and something that is result-oriented, then this ministry is for you as well. So I welcome you all. I love you all. I really do. Thanks for all the love and support that you guys give back. And with that, we'll get off into today's chapter 5, where we're hoping to conclude, if it's God's will, this chapter 5. We're hoping that this chapter 5 will conclude this ongoing series of how to destroy demons. If you haven't watched the 4 previous chapters, then please do so. And please know that all of the information from chapter 1 up through this chapter 5, it all intertwines. It's all interlocked. It's all dependent and contingent upon one another. It's like taking step 15. You can't take step 15 without having previously taken step 1 through 14. You understand? So all of these different strategies, all of these different views, perspectives, game plans, and protocol, they all interlock. So please watch the previous videos, and we'll take off into today's topic with that thought in mind. We're going to be talking about 10 ways that are a little bit more specific that can be very fruitful to you in terms of how you destroy demons. So without further ado, let's get into number one. And these are not in necessarily any particular order, as long as you are aware of the fact that they all intertwine and are dependent on one another. So number one is mastering yourself, developing self-control. You want to talk about how to destroy a demon? Self-control is a prerequisite. Self-control is right there in the thick of it all. You need to really, really become adept when it comes to mastering yourself. The only true and the only meaningful form of control is self-control. We must learn self-control, guys. Control of our attitudes, control of our physicality in terms of, whether it's wanting to engage in a physical confrontation or whether it's just walking around with your face all balled up because you're having a rough day, with your shoulders all slumped forward because things aren't going your way. Controlling your physicality, your attitude, your mind, or your mental. Controlling your emotions. Developing a high degree and a high level of emotional IQ. And of course, having spiritual control. The good book says that a person who is unable to control their spirit is like a great city without walls. Your spirit and your emotions and all these things intertwine. Your mind, your body, your spirit, and the emotion. It's like your left leg is dependent on your right leg. You can't walk, but they depend on each other. The right hand washes the left hand. You comprehend this. So all of these things, as previously mentioned, they walk hand in hand. And so, again, the good book says that a person who is unable to control their spirit is like a great city without walls. Which to say anyone or anything can enter at any time and take control of the city. So if you can't control yourself, then there's probably 100% chance that you're being controlled by other people and or other things. You're being controlled, by what you see on the TV. You're being controlled by, your neighbors and the political influence. You're being controlled by what's in vogue. You're being controlled by the lessons that you were taught as children that no longer serve you. If you aren't in control of yourself, then chances are something else is in control of you. So that's a prerequisite on how you destroy demons. Please don't underestimate the significance and the necessity of the power of self-control. In fact, although all these things, again, intertwine and interlock with one another, I would venture to say that self-control is right there at the pinnacle in terms of one of the main points of glue, if you will, in terms of this whole game plan, this whole informational piece, this whole strategy that needs to be implemented in order for us to actually destroy the demons. Learning to control yourself. Demons, they use physical attacks, physical harm. They use these things least often. Their primary and most preferred method is to manipulate, to provoke, through various means of chaos in the emotional and the spiritual realm. They're always seeking to get you to overreact, to underreact, to dumb down, to kiss up, or just numb out on what's really taking place and what is really called of you as a believer in that situation. And it takes an enormous amount of self-control in order for us to withstand, the seas and the turbulence of all that the enemy is levying in an effort to get us to overreact, underreact, dumb down, kiss up, etc. They do this, and their game is very simple. It's to pull your strings, to get you to react impulsively. Pull your strings, get you to react impulsively, and then kick back and watch you destroy yourself. So each and every time that you exercise self-control, each and every time that you refuse to give them that reaction that they're searching for, you show his power, you show his authority, and you become stronger. They become weaker until the point that your very presence to them is an extreme repellent. And then at the extreme degree of the ultimate level, they just can't exist in your presence. They are literally destroyed. That all starts with self-control. Let's see how many of these we can get in. There's 10 of these guys, and it looks like there's probably more than likely definitely going to be a chapter 6, just so that I can be respectful of you guys' time. But in each of these also, guys, as I mentioned in the previous videos, I'm putting the information out there. It is result-oriented information. But if you are in need of some strategies, okay, how do I go about doing this? Minister Mongoose, you said that I need self-control, but perhaps when you get out into the workplace, when you get into those hectic and chaotic environments where people are mocking you, people are seeking to bully you and intimidate you, people are seeking to create that toxic environment, you don't do as well as you know that you can do in terms of exhibiting that self-control. So how do you do it? For the how-tos, guys, that's what this ministry is for. I'm always going to put that link down in the description so that you can call and schedule yourself with an evaluation and or a consultation if you've already had your evaluation. But we'll talk about that in a later video as well. But do please keep that in mind. Now, the second thing that you can do to destroy the enemy, the second more specific thing, one of the more specific things that you can do, is to always choose peace over chaos. Remember, the enemy needs chaos. It needs disruption. It needs disharmony in order for it to survive. It literally needs that chaotic, low vibrational energy. It can't stand the presence of peace. So if you really want to fire an arrow into the heart of the enemy, you need to learn how to master choosing peace over chaos. When you don't react, but you choose to sit back, pause for a second, pause for a few seconds if need be. No one says that you have to act or speak or respond within a certain time frame. Who cares about what it looks like? I would rather wait a few minutes, a few seconds, whatever it takes, and get it right than to act expeditiously and get it wrong. So when you refuse to react, you take the necessary time to pause, to assess the situation, to speak, and to act out of intention and out, of a firm and very powerful form of peace. This strips away, the control of the enemy, because they can't feed off your anger. They can't feed off of your impulsive reaction and decision and whatever negative outbursts you might have as a result of their ignorance to begin with. So when you pause, when you think, and you still react in peace, a powerful peace, and not chaos, you strip them of their control. Remember, peace is not passive. It's active warfare. Don't think that I'm sitting here promoting, be peaceful and allow people to disrespect you and become docile. No, that's not what I'm saying at all. I'm saying learn to, by way of the Holy Spirit, to whatever it is that's required of you, whether it's walking away, whether it's hearing someone's other point of view, even though you know it's nonsensical and impractical, whether it's confronting that person, whatever it may do, you always lead into it with peace and calmness. When I grew up we played all of the different contact sports, but specifically when it came to boxing, and we did a lot of street fighting as well, both within and outside of the household, we were always taught that if you get angry and you lose your cool, you put yourself in a situation to be taken advantage of, because you're never going to perform as well as you could if you're in a state of peace, if you're calm. When you're peaceful, you're calculative. When you're at a state of peace, your intellect can flow. You're more maneuverable. You're more strategic. But when you lose that and you become pissed off and bitter, okay, well then you kind of at the whims of someone else, and the enemy is always being tactical. So peace is not passive. It's active warfare. Keep that in mind, guys. I'm going to see if I can get one or two more in, and then I'll make the closing, and I'll get back on chapter 6. The third one, guys, is to embrace your authenticity. The third one of the more specific ways for you to destroy the enemy is to embrace your authenticity, your God-given authenticity. Not the authenticity that was handed down to you by your parents, by your grandparents, by society, by your best friends, by your spouse, by your own expectations of who you were and who you wanted to become, but from a God-given perspective. You strip away all those different layers that I mentioned. Oftentimes, the person that God has created you to be is in total contradiction to the person that you may want to be. Society has told you that you should be, your parents and have told you, and the things that you hoped and dreamed of, and all those different things. So we're talking God-given authenticity. When you embrace your authenticity, your God-given authenticity, and you wholeheartedly stop caring about what they say about you, you wholeheartedly stop caring about how you appear socially, whether you appear arrogant, whether you appear lame, whether you appear mean, whether you appear afraid, whatever it is, you just totally stop caring. And you walk in your God-given authenticity. This terrifies and confuses the hell out of the enemy. Because we're living in a day where everybody is consciously or unconsciously, they're trying to fit in. People are too afraid to be their God-given self, because that means chances are you're going to fit out with what you wear, with the way you talk, the way you present yourself, your attitude, your mannerisms. What's God-given for you authentically, chances are that's going to make you fit out, because again, everybody has this, this assembly line, type of mindset and approach to life. So it confuses the hell out of the enemy. It terrifies them, and it sends to them an overwhelming sense of fear. Like, who is this guy? Who is this girl who dare walk in here and not give a darn about the shoes she's wearing, the coat he's wearing? They don't care about us laughing at them. They don't care about us spreading rumors. They don't care about us, being rude. Of course, as long as, they can sense that authenticity causes them to know, okay, they don't want to cross that uncrossable line, because the very presence of authenticity shows a confidence in God and a boldness in God that, hey, this is how he made me. This is what he wants me to be. And this is what I am. It scares the bejesus, if you'll pardon my French. It scares them beyond words. And it destroys them ultimately. So authenticity is like a secret weapon that can only be utilized, harnessed and utilized to the fullest by the chosen ones, by those who are anointed. Because some people, they're going to fake it, when they need to fake it. And we all, as human beings, we all have this compassion to, those of us who are high quality individuals, you comprehend. We all have this innate desire to be respectful and, to be kind and considerate. So if the joke isn't funny, you don't want the person to feel bad. You might give out a little smile or a little chuckle or whatever. If the food doesn't taste good, you might not just be blatant out there and say, this is horrible. So you may be considerate of the person's feelings, pardon me. But you're never going to sacrifice your authenticity to do so. You're never going to engage in fakery. You're not going to dance if you don't like the music. You're not going to laugh if the joke isn't funny. And you're not going to scratch if you don't have an itch. That's just the way that is. And this in and of itself, when everybody else is laughing, some because the joke is really funny and others fake laughing because they're too afraid to not laugh, and you're just sitting there, unless the Heavenly Father moves you to, again, give that genuine smile or that, that little chuckle like, okay, I see where you're going with that. It ain't funny, but okay, I see where you're going with that. Whatever. You want to be kind of modest and respectful in that regards, but not at the sacrifice of your authenticity. So let's stop there, guys. I'm going to come back with number 4. I'm just going to get this out real quick, and I'll close this up real quick. I'll let this video upload. I'll come right back with a chapter 6, and we'll try to get on with it. But these are, I'm hopeful that this information is being helpful to you. If it is, then please give back to this ministry. Help this ministry grow. Help this ministry expand to be able to help even more people. I'm going to share with you in a second how you could do that. But first, I need to say that please be duly informed that this ministry is not based on religiosity. This ministry is based on a holistic mind, body, and spirit path to life, health, wellness, and to running the race that he has set before us individually and collectively. This ministry firmly believes that when we acknowledge all that he has given us, our mind, our body, and our spirit, and we do some each and every day that acknowledges the mind, the body, and the spirit, that nourishes, that rests, that strengthens, that rejuvenates the mind, body, and spirit, then we're more prepared to face the terrains of the physical life, and we're more capable and potent as his children to be used in his kingdom. It also shows him an enormous amount of gratitude when we acknowledge that we're not just our minds, we're not just our bodies, and we're not just our spirit. So this ministry is a holistic mind, body, and spirit ministry that's based on experiential philosophy for the mind, ISSA certified fitness training for the body, and clean-hearted spiritual teachings and practices for the spirit and for the soul. All of these services and beliefs are merged, balanced, and synthesized and presented to you in an effort to help you operate at a premium in your daily walk, mentally, physically, and spiritually. For more information about the uniqueness of this ministry, I'm going to leave a link down in the description with the email address. It's an evangelical ministry. I go all over the United States, so if you're interested in the possibility of what that could look like as it relates to me possibly being recruited by you to come to your city, your state, your neighborhood, hit that link, send me an email. Also, if you have any questions, if you're interested in the services, remember, I do offer 30, 60, and 90-minute live FaceTime consultations and evaluations. So go ahead and hit that link down there, schedule and reserve your time today, and we can get into the nuts and bolts of what it is that you are looking to improve upon, what questions that you may have, things of that nature. The questions, of course, that doesn't require anything other than you sending me an email. But if you're interested in some of the services, hit that link, schedule your appointment, physical, mental, and or spiritual health and wellness. I'm going to leave that link down there. Also, guys, please give back to this ministry by hitting the subscribe button if you aren't already subscribed, hitting the share button and the like button. Please do those things, because when you do, you help this ministry grow. When you hit that share button, you pass this message forward, so you personally help someone else. You plant a seed, and he's promised that whatever seed that you plant, be it to this ministry, be it to a stranger in the street, of course with your loved ones as well, but we should be helping those anyway. We should be helping our loved ones anyway. But whenever you plant a good seed, he's promised that you will receive a good harvest. So do those things if you would, please. Help this ministry receive your harvest by faith. And if you'd like to plant a financial seed, then you can do so by going to the Cash App, which I'll also leave in the link down in the description. Now, please visit the physical fitness branch of the ministry located at mountfitnessmbs.com to get a little bit of information and insight into my experience and expertise in the field of physical fitness training, diet, nutrition, and all of that good stuff. I believe that's everything, guys. I love you all. I'm always praying for you guys. Remember to always be smart, be sharp, be strong, and be safe. Be happy, be healthy, be humble, and always be courageous. While you also always remember that ultimately there's only two different paths in life. One path leads to blissful ignorance. You see the systems that have failed us. You see mankind continuing to go further and further astray, regardless of religion, regardless of how many more police officers they put on the streets, regardless of how many drug rehab centers they open, regardless of who we select as president. It doesn't matter. These things that I just mentioned have been in existence for a long, long time. They're not working. So that's blissful ignorance, in my humble opinion. But that's just an example of it. Personal lies are very personal, blissful ignorance in our own individual walks. These things run rampant throughout society as well. So one path leads to blissful ignorance. The other path leads to meaning, purpose, and fulfillment in your life. The selection between those two paths for your life, the choice is in your hands. So please, choose wise. That's what I got for you guys. I love you all. Please hit the like, subscribe, share, all that good stuff. Hit me up on the email address if you have any questions. I'll see you guys in the next one. I am Brother Minister Mongoose, and I will holla back. Peace.